good morning. Okay, my name is Muhammad Fahmi. I am quality professional. I'm doing quality assurance consultation since 2010. I am black belt ASQ certified and a master black belt from other organization, American Standardization Council. Our course we will start today trying to align our course mostly with the ASQ and completing the course with trying to give you as much real life example as possible. So mainly I like to align the courses with ASQ body of knowledge, black belt BOK. The body of knowledge is composing the certification exam. It consists of 9 modules. First one, the organization-wide planning and deployment. Second one is the organization process management and measures. Third one is team management. Then they make, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Then we have the design for Six Sigma, the DFSS, the frameworks and methodologies. Most of the time, people coming to Six Sigma black belt courses are looking for mainly getting certified by one of the top organizations, top accredited organization for Six Sigma, like ASQ, IASSC, or ASC. I am personally certified from the ASQ, so I am more aware of the ASQ requirements, but I have an idea about the other 2 organizations' requirements. By the end of this course, you are gonna get a certificate, exam and certificate from Lecteron. This certificate will be sufficient if you don't have any other requirement for certification. If you have an other requirement for certification, this will help you to decide which certification organization to pursue. Nobody can tell you which one is better. Again, it depends on your requirements. So if your organization, the company you are working at, doesn't require any special certification, or you are not pursuing job in other organization, so maybe Lecteron certificate will be sufficient for you. However, I prefer to align the course with the ASQ requirement, which is the hardest one in the requirements for the exam. So the overall course goal is to refresh your knowledge you received in the green belt, and then help you in preparation for Six Sigma black belt certification exam. So in this course, you will be able to identify and take remedial action on gaps in your understanding of the certified Six Sigma black belt body of knowledge, and answer practice questions similar to the actual certified Six Sigma black belt certification exam. A quick idea how the Six Sigma exam from the ASQ looks like. It's 4.5 hours exam, consists of 165 multiple choice questions. The components 15 are pre-test questions and are not scored. You have organization-wide planning and deployment. You will get 12 questions. Organizational process management and measures, you get 10 questions. Team management, you get 18 questions. Define 20 questions. Measure 25 questions. Analyze 22. Improve 21 questions. Control 15 questions. And design for Six Sigma 7 questions. Okay, we will start with the organization-wide consideration. Fundamentals of Six Sigma and Lean methodology. We are here going to have a quick look on history of Six Sigma. First one known to apply the Six Sigma methodologies was Dr. Walter Schuhart, who created the concept and development of the control chart, or the PDCA cycle, Plan Do Check Act. Then Edward Deming, Edward Deming, created or emphasized the importance of understanding the variation in work processes and the application of statistics and promotion of Plan Do Check Act, the role of management in leading for quality. Then Dr. Joseph Juran, who made the breakthrough performance and Pareto effect, importance of management principles, quality by design and planning. Armand Feigenbaum created the concept of total quality control, the TQC, and the concept of hidden factory. Then Kaoru Ishikawa, he created the CWQC, which is this company-wide quality control, and he is an inventor of the cause and effect diagram, or the fishbone diagram, or somebody, it's called Ishikawa diagram. Then Philip Crosby, he created the customer requirement is a performance standard. He is the creator of this concept. Then quality maturity is a journey. Preventive action as basic approach. Kenichi Taguchi, cost of poor quality is loss to society as whole. Robust quality is designed for consistent production. Design control is more important than production control. User-friendly system of fractional experimental design. Analysis of mean and variation using signal-to-noise ratio. So what you see in front of you now is an example of the Schuhart cycle or PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act. This is the Deming's chain of reaction, and another example. Joran's quality trilogy. Are you familiar with any of these? Yeah, here you have the Crosby's maturity model. What you see in front of you now, down at the bottom of this slide, is a Certified Six Sigma Black Belt Handbook. If you are going to take the exam in ASQ, it's an open book exam, and I'm advised to get this book with you. The book is available in Amazon, I believe. And so the definition of Six Sigma from the book I showed to you, from the Certified Six Sigma Black Belt Handbook, Six Sigma is a fact-based, data-driven philosophy of quality improvement that values defect prevention over defect detection. It drives customer satisfaction and bottom line results by reducing variation and waste, thereby promoting a competitive advantage. It applies anywhere variation and waste exists, and every employee should be involved. Six Sigma is a strategy and a measurement of strategies. Six Sigma is an overall strategy to accelerate improvements in process, products, and services. Six Sigma is a measurement of how effective strategies are in eliminating defects and variation from processes, products, and services to increase yield. Okay. What you see down there is the main equation of Six Sigma. Y equal function of x's. Y is the result of all the x's, all the inputs. Understand and control the x's, and you will never have to ask why. Six Sigma refers to standard deviation, which is a measure of variation. Six Sigma refers to a process having six standard deviation in short term between the target and the nearest specification limit. The metric used is often called sigma level. Embedded in the definition of Six Sigma is the concept of 1.5 sigma shift between long and short term performance. In the long term, Six Sigma process would operate with 3.4 defects per million opportunities. So I believe you are aware what is DPMO, the defect per million opportunity. One of the points you have to understand when you have Six Sigma project working on, you have to understand that you may be facing a shift on the long term by 1.5 sigma in your sigma level. That's why usually we set up our control limit to control this shift without exceeding the spec limits. What is the normal distribution? The Gaussian or normal distribution is the most important of all distributions for continuous variables. Tables show the probability, the relative frequency that z is greater than minus infinity and less than or equal to z. Look at the graph you see in front of you. This is normally distributed data. So the area under the entire curve is equal to 1. There is a normal table or the z table. Standard normal distribution is tabulated mean of 0 and standard deviation of 1. Z can be negative or positive because we have two sides. Value in table are probabilities, areas under the curve up to the ordinate. If you are having the same book, at the end of the book you will find the z tables. Normal distribution, the assumption is yield is normally distributed. Yield or fraction acceptable is on the left side of the ordinate. Probability or relative frequency of good material. Fraction defective is on the right side of the ordinate. If you see here, this is a fraction. Yield plus fraction equal 1. Six Sigma metric is process sigma or Z bench process. Sigma assumes that process yield has a standard normal distribution. The entire process, fraction defective, is placed in the right tail of the distribution. You see here, this is the right tail of the distribution, and here this is the fraction. Process sigma is the distance from the mean of the standard normal distribution to the ordinate, which cuts off the fraction defective. This distance is measured in units of standard deviation. So you need to know how many standard deviation you have in here. Table of yield versus process sigma. The table is the same as for standard normal distribution. Process sigma has replaced the Z. Yield has replaced probability. Instead of saying yield is 0.999, say process sigma is 6. It's much easier than carrying 10 decimal places. So if we look at the previous table, when process sigma is 6, the yield is 0.109. Short term and long term, if short term process sigma is 6, then long term process sigma is 6 minus 1.5 or will be 4.5. The default shift is a positive 1.5 sigma. Process sigma is typically quoted for short-term data, but you should ask. See here, showing you the shift. This is the shift. So usually the mean shifts by 1.5 sigma. Here is a quick question. How do we get 3.4 parts per million ppm defective for process sigma of 6? The 3.4 ppm includes the 1.5 shift of the mean. Instead of 6 sigma, we are at 4.5. So including the shift, we are still at 3.4. When there is no shift of the mean, the yield and process sigma are short term. When there is a shift of the mean, default is 1.5 sigma to the right, and the yield and process sigma are long term. And note that 1.6 and 1.5 sigma is only default to use when actual data are not available. So if you don't have real-time data, you will just assume that on long term your mean is shifting 1.5 sigma. The DPMO, or defects per million opportunities, DPMO measures the subset of the total defects in a process. Scenarios: if the process has consistent fraction defective, usually high despite process improvement, then note that an inspected unit with only one defect is defective. A subset of defects is defined to track the success of process improvement. Once the subset is defined, it is not changed. In one product or service, whatever we have, in the one product we can have multiple defects. But if we have one defect on the product, so the product is defective. Each defect is subset in Bernoulli trial or opportunity. The outcome of Bernoulli trial is either non-defective or defective. So DPMO is the same as the fraction defective for the subset. A set of Bernoulli trials has binomial distribution. Another scenario is a fraction defective of loan applications is too high. A black belt leads the team to reduce the fraction defective. The team identify a subset of defects that causes most of defective applications. 10 fields in each application. Then data collection, the team finds 30 defectives in the 10 fields in a sample of 100 applications. Then remember that the outcome of the binomial trial is either non-defective or defective. So the DPMO is 30 over 10 multiplied by 100 multiplied by million. Then you have 3000 DPMO. So DPMO is the same as fraction defective in PPM. Fraction defective equal the same result without the million. It is 0.030 or 30,000 ppm. Process sigma P for z greater or equal to small z, then the yield is million minus the fraction. It equals or it's 1 minus the fraction, or it is million minus the DPMO. So it's 0.97. So process sigma equal small z equal 1.88 on the long term. The attribute data binomial and Poisson is considered long term. So if we go back to this table, in this table it's not you cannot see here, you cannot find the full table, so you cannot get from the table. Okay, anyway, the methodology used, the Deming, define, measure, analyze, and improve control, is the most commonly used methodology for process improvement. For product improvement, DMADV, define, measure, analyze, design, and validate. A design for Six Sigma methodology is used as a common practice. So you start with define, measure, check the capability, and then if it's capable, then you start controlling. If it's not capable, so you need to continue with analyzing, modify the design or not, then improve, and then control. Again, history of Six Sigma. Six Sigma was developed by Bill Smith in Motorola. Was a Motorola quality manager. Began implementation at Motorola in 1987. Helped Motorola win the first Bladridge award in '88. Has been adopted by major companies throughout the world. In 1993, refinement, the Asia Brown Bovary, a light signal, and General Electric in 1994 to 1996. Nokia mobile phones and Bombardier, Saibe, and then we have the Lockheed Martin, Sony, Crane, Polaroid, Every. These were new technologies in 1997 and 1998, and American Express, Ford, DuPont, Dow Chemical, Bank of America between 1999 and 2005. Then let's discuss, take a quick look on Lean. Lean is a business system for organizing and managing product development, operations, suppliers, and customer relations that requires less human effort, less space, less capital, and less time to make products with fewer defects to precise customer desires, compared with the previous system of mass production. This definition is by Lean Enterprise Institute. So we have 5 steps in Lean. Define value as seen by your ultimate customer. Define the value stream for your product. Make value flow without interruption. All customer to pull value from the producer. Continuous pursuit of perfection. So the 5 values, 5 Lean process is value stream map, value flow, pull, and perfection. Waste elimination, or as it's named in the Japanese word, the MODA. MODA is 8 categories: overproduction, above demand, the waiting for processing or use or work, the transport of products or material, the overprocessing, inventory, unnecessary motion, defective parts or products, underutilized people. So in most of the materials you may encounter or see in your life, you'll find 7 wastes. Recently, the last one, the underutilized skills or underutilized people was added. I believe everyone can relate something like this. So once you see 7 wastes, just understand that the 8th waste is a new addition to the 7 wastes. Then we have the Toyota Production Systems, the TPS. You have to be familiar with this abbreviation. TPS was created by Taishi Ohono. It consists of pull system.
That you only make parts as it's required. So if there's an order from a customer, that pulls the process.
Yeah. So mainly pull is you don't produce unless it's required. You don't produce unless there is a customer is willing to pay for what you are going to produce. Then the next one is eliminating MODA, the 7 or 8 wastes. Then quick die change, flexible job change, eliminate non-value adding work, Kanban methods, U-shaped cells, one-piece flow, and level loading. Some of lean thinking can be traced back to the Henry Ford. He implemented interchangeable parts with standard work and moving conveyance to create what he called flow production. Toyota production system built on this. So Henry Ford was one of the American pioneers who were sent to Japan after the World War II to help rebuilding Japan, and he was one of those who introduced his quality methods to Japan, and his methods were adopted by Toyota. And Taishi Ohono could improve and create the Toyota production system out of what they learned from Henry Ford. Combining the two methods into Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma is a fact-based, data-driven philosophy of improvement that value defect prevention over defect detection. It drives customer satisfaction and bottom line results by reducing variation waste and cycle time while promoting the use of work standardization and flow, thereby creating a competitive advantage. It applies anywhere variation and waste exists, and every employee should be involved. Again, this definition is from the same book, Certified Six Sigma Black Belt Handbook. So what you see here is the interaction between Lean and Six Sigma. Lean Unique emphasizes on time, one-piece flow, and scheduling methods and speed. And in Six Sigma, Unique emphasizes the statistical analysis, designed experiments, control plans, and they are both sharing the variability reduction, elimination of non-value adding activities, inventory reduction, and cycle time reduction. I believe Lean is a very good methodology to implement even before trying to start a Six Sigma project. Most of the time, if you applied Lean, you will have no need to do Six Sigma project. Sometimes professionals prefer to start with Six Sigma because it looks more professional and it shows your organizations that you're doing a huge work while it doesn't give any real difference if you applied Lean project which is almost 1/10 of the time of the Six Sigma project and can give very fast results. So if you are result oriented, as this is mostly my target, usually in my job as a consultant, I am result oriented. So most of the time I don't do Six Sigma projects, I do Lean and Kaizen projects because I'm looking for fast improvements. And then for what I cannot fix with Lean and Kaizen, I start doing Six Sigma projects. Yeah, if at your home your light is not switching on, you usually start by trying changing the light bulb You don't start with changing the whole electricity system in your home. So what I usually do, start fixing the small things. I start fixing the easy things first, and at the end, when I have something I cannot fix using the easy methods, then we start doing Six Sigma projects. Six Sigma projects are typically long projects. It takes between 3 months and 1 year to see a real result. And it costs money, it takes time, it takes usually big teams. That's why I don't prefer to start with Six Sigma projects. We will move to organization-wide consideration. What you see on top here, IA2, this is the code from the body of knowledge, the ASQ body of knowledge. So you know where is this in the ASQ body of knowledge. Describe when to use Six Sigma instead of other problem-solving approaches. Also describe the importance of aligning Six Sigma objectives with organizational goals. And describe screening criteria and how such criteria can be used for the selection of Six Sigma projects, lean initiatives, and other continuous improvement methods. The steering committee. Numerous organizations have an oversight group to coordinate what projects or application will be worked on and to provide guidance on how it will be worked on. Based on factors such as customer priority, cost savings, strategic needs, etc. Project direction, Lean Six Sigma, Kaizen event, just do it project. Often deliverables are specified. Steering committee is usually deciding what is strategy of the organization, where the organization is heading to, and then start to give directions what projects to work on. The project methodology selection. All projects should be selected based on organization goals and objectives. Organizations have limited resources. Six Sigma projects focus on improving a variant of one of the following: the quality, cost, or delivery. Should have a known cause. So if you know the cause of the problem, you don't do Six Sigma. You just do uh, fast root to cause analysis. If you know or could know the cause, just implement the solution. Do feasibility study and implement the solution. Typically require use of more complex tools. So again, if you know the cause, no need to do all of what you're going to do of the measure and analyze phase. Just step to improve. Kaizen projects typically are smaller in scope than Six Sigma projects, and they have tendency for solution to be known. So most of the times when you know where is the problem, you know how to resolve it, you do Kaizen projects. So the selection criteria, some Six Sigma criteria, meets current organization goal or strategic needs, meets financial goal, has unknown solution, needs technical skills of a black belt, has obtainable data, has possibly timely completion. Have a look in the diagram you see. Okay, this example diagram is clear for you, or you need explanation on it? Then we have the relationship among business system and processes. We need to describe the interactive relationship among business systems, processes, and internal and external stakeholders, and the impact those relationships have on business systems. So the process is a set of interrelated work activities characterized by a set of specific inputs and value-added tasks that make up procedure for a set of specific outputs. System is a group of interdependent processes and people that together perform a common mission. Stakeholder is any individual, group, or organization that will have a significant impact on or will be significantly impacted by the quality of specific product or service. So there is a process example in this book, strategic planning and deployment for initiatives. So we will define the importance of strategic planning for Six Sigma projects and lean initiative, demonstrate how Hoshinkanri or the X matrix, portfolio analysis, and other tools can be used in support of strategic deployment of these projects. And we will use the feasibility studies, SWOT analysis, PEST analysis, and contingency planning and business continuity planning to enhance strategic planning and deployment. So according to Kubek and Bembo in the Certified Six Sigma Black Belt Handbook, the second edition, Michael Porter listed 5 forces that affect the success of an enterprise, and they are the bargaining power of customer. This force represents the ability and buying power of your customers to drive prices down. The bargaining power of suppliers. This is a force represents the ability and power of your suppliers to drive up prices of their products. The threat of new entrants. This force represents the easy buy which new competitors enter the market and drive prices down. The threat of substitute products. This force represents the extent to which a different product or service can be substituted for your own. And the intensity of competitive rivalry. This force represents the strength of the competition in your industry. So have a look. This is how the competitive looks like, or these 5 forces looks like. An organization should analyze each of these as it forms in strategic plan. It should also monitor each of these forces continuously because such forces can be high dynamic, and changes in any one of these forces can require change in strategy. These 5 forces are clear. Yeah, so let me give you an example. One of the new requirements in the ISO now is to analyze your business risk. Okay, so when we are required to analyze business risk, these are the 5 main risks you have to consider in your work. So first risk is your customer feels that your price is too high. So customer will try to push you to reduce your price. The other one is your supplier increasing their price, so your price will have to go high. Third risk is the threat of new entrants. Whenever a new company begins, they start reducing prices to gain some market share. Mainly, this is the highest risk, the threat of substitute products. This is what we have seen many times, that new products come and old products vanishes. If we remember when Kodak was a leader in photography world, nobody in the world doing photography don't deal with Kodak. It was almost the only one who supplies photography in the world, right? We remember Kodak. Even it was the abbreviation everybody's using. It's Kodak time. So according to Kubek and Bembo, the Certified Six Sigma Black Belt, the steps in portfolio architecting are study basic physical, chemical, biological principle involved. Use the basic principle to outline family of products. List the modules required for each product. Form a matrix with product composing. The rows and function modules composing the columns. Study the matrix to determine which products to build. The benefits is when product families will have more common modules, improve manufacturability, contributes more efficient inventory management, allows for mass customization. When we are creating management system or SOPs, and we are creating forms, for example, for an organization, we do the same. We make families of the forms. So we can make a form that works for many processes. So we don't need to give you hundreds or thousands of forms, and for each process you are going to select the one. I give you a matrix. If your process in this process 1, 10, and 100, you will select this form. If you are in these processes, you select this form. So it becomes easier for you to or it decreases the chances for making mistakes of using the wrong form. Okay, is this one clear? Then we have the X matrix. Each axis of the matrix is related to the two adjacent ones, but not the one across. So thus the product models are related to plant sites and to the customer, but not to the freight lines. A lot of information can be contained in an X-shaped matrix. In this one, we can observe the red lines and zip ink, which seems to be minor carrier based on volume. These are the red lines and these are zip inks. Are the only carriers to serve based on volume are the only carriers that serve Lyle company. Lyle doesn't buy much, but it and Arlo are the only customers for Model C. Model D is made at 3 locations, while other models are made at 2. So here, these are the plants, these are the customers, and these are the providers. So this is made, and these are the product models or product families. So this X matrix is made to show you the relation between any two of them. So Arlo takes a lot of trans-south products. Here, if you see here, Alabama plant produce most of the trans-south. If you look here, Model A comes from plant X and goes to Time Inc. I know for you it looks like something industrial, but believe me, it can be applied in any industry. If you apply it in any product or any forms you are using, you can set here forms instead of models. You can set here your suppliers, here your customers, and here is your branches. So if we go to we are going starting with the Hoshin planning. Hoshin planning, or also called policy deployment, is planning process that begins with the highest level of the organization. As goals are flowed down in the organization, each lower level is expected to create goals that support those at the next highest level. This creates alignment in the organization, both vertically and as well as horizontally. So what you see here is this is the form of how it looks, the policy deployment. So this is the 3-year breakthrough objectives. Here, this is the annual objectives, movement priorities, targets to improve. Here you list your resources and start aligning them. Then another important one is the feasibility study. A feasibility study is an analysis of the viability of an idea. The feasibility study focuses on helping answer the essential question of should we proceed with the proposed project idea. All activities of the study are directed toward helping answer this question. The feasibility study will be a major information source in making a go, no-go decision. This indicates the importance of a properly developed feasibility study. Okay, one of the things we mostly do with feasibility study, as I said, if we have a problem, we know what is the solution. So as I said, as we know what is the problem, what is the solution. We don't do Six Sigma project. We just do feasibility study. What you do in feasibility study, you do study how much this solution is going to cost you, and how much or what is the income of this solution will be, and when you will reach the break-even point or the return period when you get what you paid for this solution. Whenever you know the solution of the problem, you do a feasibility study. You do feasibility study to check if you or it's feasible to implement this solution or not. Sometimes it's not feasible to implement the solution, so maybe you will decide to continue with the problem. For example, I have seen one of the most or the rarest decision I ever seen in a company working on the drilling field in the oil and gas. They have decided not to make any maintenance to their generators. So their decision is just run to break. They have an extra generator on board their rigs, and when a generator breaks down, they send the technician, takes this one out, set up the new generator. When I asked them, they told me that they had a feasibility study on having mechanics on their offshore rigs where they are getting very high salary and doing small jobs on daily basis. So they found it's easier to send a mechanic for 1 or 2 days to fix the new, or to set up the new generator. So this is an example of a feasibility study. They decided to continue with the problem instead of solving the problem. They found that solving the problem will cost more than the problem itself. Again, one of the things you need to know is that feasibility study is something you do in your life, in your normal life on day-to-day basis. Sometimes you something in your car gets broken and you decide I'm not going to fix it because anyway I'm not using it. Sometimes your, for example, fog lights is not working and you decide I'm not going to use the fog lights anyway, so I'm not going to use it to fix it. It's a feasibility study that you found that to fix these fog lights is going to take time from you and going to cost you time, and anyway you are not getting any benefits from it, so you are not going to do it. Now we will move to the SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. It provides a framework to identify elements that help or hinder an organization. So look at what you see here. This is the SWOT analysis. So you have the strengths and weakness. They are the internal factors, and you have the opportunities and threats. They are external factors. So you have the strengths. If you have strengths in technical skills, leading brands, distribution channels, customer loyalty and relationship, production quality, the scale. So you list strengths you have, then you list the weakness, the absence of important skills. You have weak brand, for example, you have poor access to distribution. You list your weaknesses, and you list your opportunities. You have changing customer tastes. You have liberalization of geographic markets, technological advances, changes in government policies. Every one of those can be opportunity or threat. You identify what is applicable for you. Lower personal taxes, collaborative partnership, new distribution channel. The threats are changing demographics, closing of geographic markets, technology costs, legal or regulatory issues, tax increase, new competitor, uh, stagnant distribution channels. And then after you identify these things, you start utilizing your strengths and opportunities and controlling or mitigating your weaknesses and threats. Then we will have a quick look on the PEST analysis. PEST stands for Political, Economic, Social, and Technological Analysis. The term describes a framework of macro-environmental factors used in strategic planning process. Political factors are will government policy influence laws that regulate or tax your business? Is the government involved in trading agreements such as EU, NAFTA, ASEAN, or others? Economic factors like interest rates, the level of inflation, employment level per capita, long-term prospect, etc., GDP. Sociocultural factors like what are attitudes toward foreign products and services, what are the roles of men and women within society, how long is population living, does population have strong weak opinion on environmental issues, and the technological factors, does technology allow for products and services to be made more cheaply and to a better standard of quality? How is distribution changed by new technologies? Does technology offer companies a new way to communicate with consumers? So, pest analysis, you can imagine your organization or a company trying to open a branch in other country where there is a different culture. We are talking, for example, on if you are opening a branch in India or in Middle East, so you have to do the pest analysis to understand what you have. Uh, Different cultures are there. If you are opening on India, so you have, for example, if we are talking about a company like McDonald's and they are going to open in India, so some places in India they don't eat beef, so they will remove beef from their menu, or they are going to face consequences. If they are going to open, for example, in Saudi Arabia, they are not allowed to have pork, so they have to remove the pork from their item and even have to provide substitutes. If you are a bank and you have some requirements, for example, you have to understand how you deal with women in Middle East, for example, because dealing with ladies in Middle East is a little bit challenging. If you're in Saudi Arabia, you cannot see the face of the woman, for example. You cannot even ask the woman to show you her face. So you have to find a substitute how to verify the identity of the lady in front of you. You are going to open branches in different countries, which is any organization is looking forward to expand globally. So you have to understand that there are differences in cultures, there are difference in regulations, there are difference in acceptability of technology. If you are going to open a branch in Europe, so there or in United Arab Emirates, the government is computerized, so you have to get some access to the government terminals or the government portals, so you can deal with the government. You see in front of you an example of pest analysis. I know we are now introducing many of new concepts to you. You have to understand that you are going to a different level as a black belt. So that's why you have to understand that you may be required, or mostly will be required, to do things you have never been doing before. That's why we are focusing on the different kind of organizational or management system you have to work with or understand. At least if you are not going to do it, at least you need to understand it, so you will at least be able to know that you have this option. Areas, for example, if you are in a hot country, you'll find in every petrol station there is there is ice maker machine, because everybody's looking, if in hot countries or in hot states, everybody's looking for ice or looking to cool. If you are in Canada, for example, something like this doesn't work. If you are in countries, or if you are doing, for example, something in some countries, some people are looking for something related to their culture, so you can provide easily. In some countries, as I said, what you're providing violate their culture or violate their beliefs. So you have to understand this if we are talking about social culture. So you may be selling the best product in America, and here it has a huge and great market, but you go to India, this market doesn't exist. Nobody's going to buy your product, right? One of the technological application, as I said, is not only what I said about that some countries are computerized. Maybe in Florida as a state, people are familiar with some specific software or social media application everybody's using there, so you know where to place your advertisement, for example. This is where you can reach your customer. In some countries, for example, people still use BBM. People in some countries, people prefer, for example, Twitter. In some countries, people prefer Facebook. Uh, if your customers are from the US, so most probably they prefer Snapchat and Instagram. These tools can be used and mainly are used when you are creating the organization strategy, or maybe you are designing a new product. You are required to create a new product or creating as a black belt, you are asked to make your study on making a new branch in different area. So that's where you are going to use all of these. Or maybe you are required to create a strategy for your organization. As a black belt, you are now not just a demake oriented person. You are now organization oriented person. So that's why we are looking for something wider than just the make. You can add whatever you like. Actually, some organizations use PEST analysis. Some organizations do PEST analysis. It's the PEST analysis, and they add whatever else they are looking for. So sometimes they do PEST analysis. So they are studying the organizations they are dealing with, for example. I will give you an example. I worked with a couple of companies in Middle East. Their main or their only client is Saudi Aramco. Saudi Aramco is considered one of the biggest companies in the world, or already the biggest oil producer in the world. So these contractors are there only to serve this client. So they do the PEST analysis and they add the O when they are studying the Aramco organization, as what are their requirements, is their culture, because as you know, it may differ. You need to study what your competitors are doing. Maybe your competitors are doing something for a long time, and if you don't do whatever they are doing, while even it's not a requirement, so you will be less than your competitors. Again, it doesn't have to be just pest, but this is the main, the PEST analysis, and you can add whatever you like to them. But the main four categories you are looking for is the politics, economics, culture and social life, and the technological. Okay. Then we move to leadership. You as a black belt are going to lead projects. You will be the project leader, or you're the black belt in the project. So you have to understand the roles and the responsibilities of all your team. You have to understand how to motivate them, how to deal with them, how to make your meetings. So again, as I'm telling you, you as a black belt are now not just the make oriented. If I'm just giving you the make again, which you already passed almost 70% of it on your green belt, then I'm just deceiving you, because you will face real things in your projects that you are not aware how to deal with. So in first one here, roles and responsibilities, you're required to describe the roles and the responsibilities of executive leadership, champions, sponsors, process owners, master black belts, and green belts in driving Six Sigma and lean initiatives. Describe how each group influences project deployment in terms of providing or managing resources, enabling changes in organizational structure, and supporting communication about the purpose and deployment of initiatives. The organizational roles, we will start from green belts. You are already familiar with this. You have been green belt before. So green belts are in projects as part-time. They use Six Sigma tools for problem solving, and they manage project within areas of expertise. Then the project team members are part-timer, and they are project specific. Then we have the black belts, that is going to be you. They spend 50% to 100% of their time on black belt activities. They facilitate and practice problem solving. They train and coach green belts and project teams. Then we have the master black belts, which is normally this is the highest level in Six Sigma. 30 person in the world who are higher than master black belt. My coach, or the one who I learned Six Sigma from, is one of these 30 persons. They have been learned or certified by Dr. Michael Harry himself as executive master black belt. But again, we are talking about the master black belt are full-time. They train and coach black belts and the green belts. They are statistical problem-solving experts. Then we have the champions. They are project owner. They implement the solution and they manage the black belts. And the executives who own the vision and direction, the integration for the results, and they lead the changes. Okay, then every other employee have to understand the vision and apply concepts. So we will take one by one in details. Executive leaders identify, rank, and communicate corporate values and overall strategies, objectives, and examine ways to maximize customer satisfaction. Identify consistent business metrics. Establish a business scorecard. Choose high potential individuals to become champions and black belts. Participate in and support the training. Support champions and black belts by consistently removing obstacles to project completion. Six Sigma is deployed by Six Sigma black belts on a project by project basis. Buy-in from the top down is critical. Executives establish the corporate commitment to achieve Six Sigma process performance. Then we have the champions. Champions lead, plan, facilitate, and implement Six Sigma. They direct the company's overall strategic Six Sigma deployment objectives. Champions also identify critical projects and metrics, develop Six Sigma deployment strategies, give authorization to start approvals, offer consistent project reviews, select and mentor black belts, and consistently remove obstacles to project completion. Then we have the process owner. Process owners' responsibilities include measuring, monitoring, and managing process performance. In many cases, this crosses functional lines. Maximizing process performance, maintaining process documentation, knowing what world-class performance is for the process, identifying problems and opportunities, recommending and sponsoring improvement efforts, interfacing with other process owners and customers. Master black belts are responsible for committing to full-time role, training and coaching champions, black belts, and green belts, serving as statistical problem-solving experts, leading or coordinating larger projects as needed. The black belts, this is you. In addition to using Six Sigma tools to maximize critical business process, a black belt mentors a network of supporting individuals, teaches one-on-one, shares new strategic symposia, discovers new applications for Six Sigma strategies, identifies business opportunities, and sells Six Sigma strategies throughout the organization. And to assure business success, the black belt must devote at least 50% of his or her time to black belt activities. Green belts execute Six Sigma as part of their overall jobs, focus energies on projects that tie directly to their day-to-day work, help deploy the success of Six Sigma techniques, lead improvement projects within the respective areas, can be process owners, usually work part-time assisting black belt, participate on their own or with black belt project team in the context of their existing responsibilities, learn the Six Sigma methodologies as it applies to a particular project, continue to learn and practice the Six Sigma methods and tools after project completion. And let's continue on leadership, organizational roadblock, and change management. Organization culture describes the physiology, attitudes, experiences, beliefs, and values of an organization. Describe how an organization's structure and culture can impact Six Sigma projects. Identify Six Sigma causes of Six Sigma failures. Common causes of Six Sigma failures, including lack of management support and lack of resources. Apply change management techniques, including stakeholder analysis, readiness assessment, and communication plans to overcome barriers and drive organization-wide change. So deployment success factor, a deployment plan, active participation of senior executives, project reviews, technical support, full-time versus part-time resources, training, communications, project selection, project tracking, an incentive program, a safe environment, a developed supplier plan, customer wows. Yeah, the stage of change. Now we are applying for change. For me personally, I don't prefer doing change unless it's needed. We will discuss this through what we are doing now, but there is this is called the Lowen model of change. You have a change, you have to unfreeze the process, change the process, and then freeze. What is the meaning of this? You have a procedure or SOP you are following, and there is a change required. So you do unfreeze, start discussing that change. This unfreeze is starting to be open for change. Do ask for meetings. Let's get suggestions on changing this SOP or these procedures. Then you apply the change and then freeze again. So this is called the model, the Lowen model of change. Personally, I prefer the change management when in ISO we are doing change management very long time ago. Before changing anything, we have to do in what we call it MOC, the management of change. So what we do, we start with collecting all the data, studying the consequences, the hidden consequences of this change, and then approve or don't approve the change, check if the change aligns with the strategy of the organization, then the approval. After the approval, apply the change and communicate the change, train personnel on the change, and remove the old version of these procedures from everywhere. Just keep it in a historical record. So this is how MOC or management of change is being done in ISO. So another way, the change management process by Qatar proposed the 8-step change management. process to help organization deal with organizational change. These 8 steps are: establish a sense of urgency, create a guiding coalition, develop the vision, communicate the vision, empower broad-based actions, generate short-term wins, consolidate gains, produce more change, anchor new approaches in the culture. So let me give you a quick exercise to understand change before we continue talking about change. What I want you to understand now, you have been writing using your dominant hand all your life. But if I one day I ask you to use the other hand, and I start complaining why you are not able to use your other hand, they are both identical hands. So why you are not able to use it? You cannot give me an answer, right? So mainly this is what happens with change. Now, if I'm asking you, I want you to write your name one time with the best quality you have. So now you understand what I was talking about when I said I don't prefer changes, I prefer improvements. Don't do the change unless you really need it, unless it's a fully broken process. Now, do you see what I was talking about? So instead of just and when I started doing consultation, was my biggest challenge because other consultants are cheaper than me because they actually do nothing. They have their systems and they go to the organization just provide them with the new system and ask them to follow this system. So they are doing a full change to the organization. While what I was doing, I have to go to an organization, study what they are doing, and check what is in compliance with what we need to do and what is not, which is mainly called gap analysis. I do gap analysis and start filling the gaps by improving the existing process or procedure, improving the existing procedure and augmenting the existing procedure to fill this gap to cover the other requirements. So mainly what I was doing is not changing, I was improving. But it takes me more time than what other people is doing. But at the end, what I've done is was showing over Six Sigma of success. I was having over 99.99% of success with what I was doing, while other projects was regularly failing because you are just throwing companies system and giving them a new system. So you start facing resistance. You start to pay a lot to try to give ownership to let these employees take ownership of the new system, which is very hard. In my opinion, they already have an ownership and loyalty to the old system, and it feels natural to them. So why to lose this? The methodology, I think, and this is what was my discussion with my coach when we were discussing this. What we all are doing is, or most of the quality professionals are doing, is copying the Toyota production system or Toyota quality system, which is proved to be very good for Toyota, but we assumed that it is one size fits all. We assumed that having the same system will work the same for us. But what we are, or what I used to do, me and my team, we just copy the philosophy of Toyota. Toyota, their system or their philosophy is to keep their culture. They don't change their culture. They are keeping them the culture they have, and they keep removing waste from this. While what we do is trying to replicate Toyota system. So we are trying to change our culture to be a copy of their culture. So you are doing a lot and not gaining the same result, while what they are doing is doing less and gaining more results. What I give you now, this is a personal suggestion. This is my personal experience. I'm not saying this can come in exam, and I'm not saying this is mandatory. This is my personal experience, because and I believe this is why most over 65% of Six Sigma projects fail, because I believe they rush to change, while change, as I said, change is hard. You feel that when you are asked to write with your other hand, when you are asked to do something the opposite of what you were doing your whole life, now you feel it. So I believe now you can understand what I'm saying. When you are one of the managers of the company, or whoever the managers are, they forget how the change feels. So they just say, give me a change. We need to change what we are doing. Don't change, just improve. So let's come back to the change management. When you apply it to Six Sigma, again, we didn't say we will never do a change, but we will not do a change unless we need it. What we do in for the change, people's stage of transition, they do, there is letting go, neutral zone, and then the new beginning. So if we do apply this to the make, creating a shared need, this is the D. So you will create the shared need. Then in measure and analyze, you are shaping a vision. In improvement, you are mobilizing commitment. And by pilot and improvement, you are implementing. And same start of the control phase. And then in control, you are monitoring the progress of this change. So leadership is that which guides the change or transition process. So what you have here, it's called change management, but it doesn't have to be a change. This is the transition process. So it can be a transition for just for the improvement. Then you have the new systems and structure. Then we have something called readiness assessment. It is the act of measuring how well your organization or area of an organization is prepared for a major change. The purpose is to identify obstacles that would delay the initiative or project. Some elements to consider, like, are the proper resources available? Is there leadership commitment? Is the organization ready to change current practices if needed? Again, I'm not saying we will never do change. Sometimes change is inevitable, like computerizing your system. You have seniors in your company, they hate computers, but you have to be computerized. This is a new world. So you will have to change. So you have to assess the readiness of this change, correct? I believe you faced the same example I'm talking about before. Have anybody experienced this kind of change? Then we do something called communication plan. Communication plan is after you decide who are you communicating, then what do you need to tell them, how you will tell them, and who will do this and when. So what you see in front of you, this is a sample communication plan. Have a look at it. Then we do the stakeholders analysis. In the stakeholder analysis, you identify stakeholders and their position on the change initiative. So you list your stakeholders, and then every one of them, you start doing an analysis if they are supporting, if they are against, if they are neutral, and how you are going to communicate with them. Then what are the action items you are talking about with them?